country. So what are Israel's choices? I mean, they have the situation in Gaza that they can't just run away from. They have to pay attention to that. They don't really want to get into a hot war, as you say, in so what are they supposed to do?
So if Israel is given the leeway by the United States and the diplomatic cover for Israel to be allowed to do as much as what it needs to do to defang Hamas, that will be a message not only to Sinwar to maybe concede and maybe to get on a plane and fly to Algeria or Lebanon or Iran or someplace, but it will be an indication to the rest of the Middle East, of our allies, that America stands by its most important ally in the Middle East. And this reverberates all around the world. Taiwan is watching to see how well America stands with its Israeli ally. If they don't stand with its most important overseas ally, Israel, how well are they going to protect us from China or be with us at that time? This is a test for America. And there's a strain of isolationism running through our country. That people, even in this group, we're talking pre-World War II, and that was not a good thing, and our adversaries are not stupid. So what should Israel do? Israel would like, again, to buy some more time. They'd like to do what needs to be done to Hamas, to feel America's not breathing down their necks. And there's an election year going on, if anybody hasn't noticed that. And presidents like to say, and their opponents like to say all kinds of things. But foreign policy is not what pushes the American people in general, what they vote on. They vote on pocketbook issues. So this will affect, the problem is, these issues make a big difference because it's not a popular vote. The electoral college is in only 7 or 8 states that make a difference. And they're so close, and things could push one way or another. I'll tell you what I said on television, so it's not, and this is not, I work on both sides of the aisle, so we'll say, I believe the president's political advisors made a mistake in letting the tail of the far left wag the dog. I think there are many more moderates and independents who would like to vote for the president, putting aside all the other issues everybody knows about. I think they take an indication that they're worried about their issues their issues that are going to be dominated by the hard left of the party. And what they get from the foreign policy is they see if the president in his foreign policy, even though it's not a primary issue, is abandoning Israel, it says, well, maybe he would abandon us too on our primary domestic issues. So I think there's many more full voters who are independent and moderate or persuadable than there are people of the hard left in Dearborn, Michigan.
So that puts Israel in kind of a holding pattern?
It's a holding pattern. One of my friends who I met with last week is the former defense minister of Israel named Boogie Ya'alon. And Boogie says, I wish Americans would stop their solutionism. There's not a solution now, but you have to create the conditions for eventually there'll be a pathway to solutions. When you have a solution here, well, the one solution, if you really want to get to solutionism, is where is the head of the snake of here? Almost every single thing is related to Iran. Iran funds Hamas, even though it's Shiite Persians and Sunni Arabs. My enemy's enemy is my friend. Hezbollah, I told you, goes in lockstep. It's a division of the Iranian Republican Guards. It is incredibly important to realize that if Iran was not there, then many of these problems would be less. So now I'll be critical because it's factual. We have lots of sanctions against Iran. We are not enforcing them, which means that Iran is selling almost an unlimited amount of oil to India and China, And where's that money going? It's to its nuclear program, to fund Hezbollah, to fund Hamas, to fund the Houthis, and to terrorize their people. What we should do, and this I've said many times, is, and I work with Iranian Iranian activists who work with the protesters, I think our government should simply say, we are pro-Iranian. We are pro-Iranian people. And we want the Iranian people to make choices for themselves based upon our American values. I'm antiquated, I believe in American exceptionalism in that regard. I think we have something here. They don't have to become Jeffersonian Democrats, but we want them to be able to take charge of their lives. And most of them, as best as we understand it, are probably the most, other than Israel, the most pro-Western people in the Middle East. And by the way, Iran is a very complex country. It's not all Persian, it's only 55% Persian. There are Arabs and Balochs and Kurds and so many different Azaris, I think the second largest group. It's a very complex country, and that terrorizes its 45% minority population. The key, if you want a solution, is in Tehran.
Thank you.